Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and I am super excited to be here with you for today's paper pumpkin unboxing. So I normally go live at 7 p.m. on Monday nights. This is the holiday season, though. I'm on vacation right now from work, and so we have some family stuff going on. So I thought I'd pop on this morning while some of them are at work already, and the rest of the teens are sleeping. So it's nice and peaceful. So I thought it'd be a great time to do my paper pumpkin video with you. And if you're not awake at this time of day, because it is fairly early, 7:30 in BC here, you'll be able to catch my replay, watch it at the normal 7 p.m. time, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful holiday season. So let's dive in. I've got my paper pumpkin here on my desktop. I'm going to zoom over to that screen only, and we'll get started. So this is the Watercolor in Bloom paper pumpkin kit for December 2025. If you are local to me, I do have one more of this kit. So once you see it, I think you might fall in love with it. I've seen some samples already. Mine arrived on a day that we were very busy with family stuff, so I'm just getting to it today. So let's empty out that box and see what we have got. And if you're joining me right now or in the replay, I'd love it if you said hi and let me know who's here with me. Love crafting with people in person or virtually. All right, so if you're new to paper pumpkin, the only things that don't really come in your kit are a pair of scissors and a chamois or something to wash your stamps with. Otherwise, you get all of your paper bits, your stamps, your inks, your adhesives, like you name it, you get it in the kit. And if it's your first paper pumpkin, you get a block as well. This is not my first paper pumpkin, so I will have to use blocks that I have at home. So always on the bottom, we have two of the most important pieces of our kit. One is a little image that shows us the artwork on our stamp set. So this is everything that comes in our stamp set. I love keeping these. Oh, good morning. Watching from Vegas. Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for joining. So, yeah, this is our stamp set that we get. And I love keeping this because then when you're working with a stamp set, I like to play with mine afterwards, especially since a lot of the sentiments have amazing fonts and kind of more options for words. Then you know if you're missing one from your set. So I keep these together in a little baggie. And that way I can always keep them paired up. All right. And then, of course, our instructions that help us figure out how to put these cards together. So I'm going to put those to the side. I kind of use them. In this little baggie, we've got some dimensionals, and it looks like some copper adhesive back sequins. So those will be fun to play with. Oh, the ink was Night of Navy for this kit. So I actually put my ink spots aside, and I share them with my class. I teach grade 2-3 elementary school. So I take them to school for the kids to stamp with, or I share them with customers who are just getting started and don't have all the colors yet. So kind of fun. So we're using Night of Navy ink. We've got some tear and tape, which is an amazing adhesive. And then we've got our bits here. So we've got 3 of these. So we're making 3 of 3 different cards. So I'm just going to grab one piece and then pop everything off to the side. We've got our envelopes. They appear to all be the same for this kit. And I always love our envelopes because they're always so much fun. So we'll put those to the side for now. And then we've got 3 different card bases. So this one's beautiful Night of Navy with some, I'm not sure if that's shaded spruce. It looks like shaded spruce green leaves on there. We've got our bits here for stamping. Now this is something that I always love about these kits. It helps with alternatives, but it also helps if we make a mistake, is even though we're only making 3 of each card, they have given us 4 of each piece to stamp on. So that's a really nice thing. So the pressure's off a little bit if you mess up something and you're working with this beautiful oval. Now I wonder if this is actually the same size. Oh, it's bigger. So it's much bigger than our modern ovals punch. So if you mess this up, you don't have to worry about having like a smaller version or something. You've got a spare. So I'm just going to grab 2 of each. There we go. That way I'll have some for my spares as well as for our cards. And then we've got these beautiful floral pieces. I'm not going to punch these out yet. I'll just grab them as we need them, but it looks like we have exactly what we need, 3 of each. Beautiful card base. Oh my goodness, I love that. And then, oh yay, some vellum pieces here. So it looks like we just need 1 whole sheet of that. And then another gorgeous card base. I love the watercolor look. Oh, and then we also have, okay, this is why we have the copper sequins, because we have copper accented pieces as well. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Okay, can't wait to dive in. So if you've watched my paper pumpkin videos before, you know that I will always make the first set of cards almost how they tell us to. But there is one modification that I make 99% of the time, and I'm going to again today, which is these beautiful card bases. They're lovely, but to have this beautiful design wasted on the back of a piece of paper just kills me. I can't do it. So what I always do when I'm working with these cards is I actually go and trim these down. So you have 2 choices really. You can cut this right on the score line and keep it as is full size and just glue it onto a card base. Or you can do what I do, which is I trim it down to 5 1/4 by 4. And then I glue it onto a card base. And so we'll just take a double look at all of our cards to make sure that's going to work. So for this particular card, that actually will work. But I think I'm going to modify it even more actually. And just cut these into paper strips. We don't need a full piece, and then we'll have even more of that card left over to play with. This one, it's going to work beautifully, and this one, it's going to work beautifully. So I'm going to go cut these 2 down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then this one, I'm going to keep it at 5 1/2, and we'll wait and see how wide I need these strips. I think I can get away with 1-inch strips, but we'll do some measurements to make sure. So I'm just going to pop over to my machine right now and chop these ones. My machine, I have a guillotine cutter, so that's what I prefer. So I'm just going to quickly do that. So let's see. Let's pop in here and flip. So 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. All right. And that's going to leave me with these 2 pieces to play with for alternative cards as well, which is nice. All right. So now we're going to grab some paper to act as our background. I believe for this one, I'm going to use a white card base. And then I think I'm going to use a Knight of Navy for the other 2 cards. So I'm just going to go grab a Knight of Navy piece. Okay, and I'm going to score that at 4 1/4 and then cut it at 5 1/2, and that's going to give me my 2 card bases. So there we go. All right. So with that stuff prepped, that's just kind of like the extras. So normally you could just go ahead and use these card bases as normal, but I like to kind of get a little bit more out of my kit. All right, so I'm going to take that, and this piece I'm going to glue on. Now they have it with the lighter side as the top, so that's how I'm going to glue that on. And then because I'm doing a Knight of Navy card base, I'm going to put a white insert inside. So I'll move these pieces off to the side for a moment. And I'm going to grab my white insert. So I just keep a stack of 4x5 1/4 pieces of cardstock on my desk. So I'll need 2 of those for these cards. And I'll just glue those right inside. So yeah, when my kids want to earn a little bit of extra money, I just give them a pack of basic white cardstock and get them to cut it up into 4x5 1/4 for me. And then they're ready to go. Yeah, it's always nice. I also give them the thick cardstock and get them to cut my card bases for me. So I have white card bases sitting ready to go as well. It just makes crafting so much easier. I like the easy button, which is why I love these paper pumpkins. They make gorgeous cards and so quick and simple. All right. So there we go. We've got that onto our Night of Navy card base. So now it's kind of like we're at the beginning. We've just folded our card in half. And now we can start. So I am going to grab the instructions because there's a lot of pieces they're layering together. And so I want to see exactly, well, apparently I've started with their last card. I want to see exactly what they are suggesting for this. So they've got this piece and they want me to actually do a little bit more stamping on here. That's kind of interesting. All right, so we've got some Night of Navy pieces on here, but they're suggesting that we take this little guy and stamp him. So if you only have the paper pumpkin block, I would suggest mounting this little piece right in the corner of your paper pumpkin block. That's going to allow you to get the ink on it without getting ink all over your block and then easily placing it. Okay. If you have other blocks though, I would definitely recommend, oh, I don't have a square. Huh, they're all in use. Okay. I would definitely recommend a smaller block. So I'm going to use this skinny little one, or you could use the square, and that's just going to be easier. All right, now this stamp's never been used, so I always, when I have a brand new stamp, I like to do a little test run because sometimes these can have a little film on them. This one actually didn't seem to. That's nice. But I always do a test. Just, you don't want to ruin your card. All right, so I'm going to take that and pop that in there. And then one up on the other side. Okay. There we go. All right, so that's just the extra little detail that we're adding. And then they have us stamping directly onto, oh, really? Oh, good, no. Okay, they have us stamping onto this white rectangle, which is great because if we mess this up, we have a spare. And if we really mess it up, we can cut another one. So thank goodness. All right, and they would like us to actually stamp, "Dear friend, you make me feel loved." I'm going to take a quick peek at the sentiments and see what else there is and what would fit on this card. I'm also going to look at what else they're suggesting. Thank you, miss you so much. Okay. So they want "Dear friend," and then "You make me feel so loved." That is a nice one, but actually, no, I'm going to go with it. All right, so they want us stamping these as 2 separate things. So I'm going to grab those 2 sentiments. And even though I have other blocks, I'm actually going to just clean these ones up. Now, before I clean this one up, just because it is so cute, I'm going to come into my card here, and I'm going to stamp this little image on the 2 corners of the inside of my card. All right, just a little something extra. I don't need to put that away yet, but I do need to clean that little image up and then use the block that he's from. All right, so we're going to stamp our "Dear friend" first, and we're going to stamp it up near the top so that we have space for "You make me feel so loved" underneath. And again, I haven't used it, so I'm just going to give it a good go. Right. There we go. All right. So, dear friend. There. And we'll clean that up. Grab a new block, or grab a new sentiment for this block. Okay, so now to pick that one up, I like to put it down and then put the stamp or the block over top of it. Okay, and we'll just do another little test. Wow, these are all actually really good this time. That's awesome. Okay, and you make them feel so loved. All right, beautiful. So with that piece done, I'm actually going to clean this. I'm just only had one coffee this morning, not feeling super confident that I'm not going to drop something onto my card. So we'll put that off to the side. Okay, so next step then is we are going to put some tear and tape on the back of this. Now, because I have my liquid glue, I'm actually not going to put tear and tape onto the back of it. I am going to put this directly onto the piece. Oops, I forgot to grab the piece. They want it to go onto this little piece. So instead of using tear and tape, because I have the liquid glue, that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to save my tear and tape for some kind of 3D project, which is what I truly love them for. And this one, liquid glue will do. All right, there we go. So we've got that on there. And then, now this part I am going to use tear and tape for. They want me to attach this to the vellum rectangle that it matches. And the reason I'm going to use tear and tape for that is because liquid glue is great. It's my favorite. But when you are working with vellum or foil, I don't love it because vellum and foil are a little bit slipperier, and if they get glue on them, they are ruined. Like, it discolors them, and it just they lose their beautiful effect. So we will do a strip of tear and tape for this piece. All right, and I'm going to put that right centered. So side to side, and then equal border top and bottom. There we go. All right, so that's looking really beautiful. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is they would like us to attach this to here. And you see it's going to be centered, so there's a little border on each side. And then before we do that, we are going to grab one of these. Come on. One of these little guys and one of our flowers. Now, I'm not really sure which size of flower. I'm going to guess it's the smaller one. I don't know. We're going to go with the smaller one. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to go with the medium one based on the shape of... There we go. We'll go medium. I'm not sure that it matters. All right, so for this, they would like us to use a piece of tear and tape to attach this behind, but then don't worry that we'll see the tear and tape because we're actually going to use the flower to cover it up. So you actually want to place this in a way that the flower will be able to cover it up. So you don't want it to like too far over or too far down. Okay, so I actually like to kind of put that all together. And then I'm going to go on the back of it, and I'm going to use my tear and tape more like tape than tear and tape. And because that's how I like it, I'm going to make sure that that tear and tape covers the flower, the leaf, and the vellum and holds it all in place. And then I can peel that off. And actually, no, I'll leave that backing on. And we'll put some dimensionals on the back of here. So they gave us full-size dimensionals in our kit. So I'm just going to grab some full-size dimensionals. So I'm going to put one up here behind the leaf. and then 3 behind the sentiment. So you don't want them poking out to where they'll be visible through the vellum. Okay, and then we'll peel this off. There we go. And this piece gets centered. Voila. All right. Oh, that's so pretty. All right, now we're going to attach this piece to our card base, and they have said to do that with dimensionals, and they've used a lot of them. I like it. I am a big dimensionals fan. So 1, 2, 3 across the top, 1, 2, 3 across the bottom, and 1, 2, 3 across the middle. Okay. And if that's in the instructions, the good news with that is that means they've given us enough dimensionals to be able to do that. It's one thing I find we never run short of adhesive in these kits. Okay, and then that gets centered on our card front as best we can. There we go. And then we finish it off with our little sequins. And I do love these because they are adhesive backed. Now, if you are good with your fingers, you can use your fingers to pick them up. If that's a bit of a challenge, you can grab your take your pick tool. You just slide it underneath to pick it up. And then you can pop these on in place wherever you would like them. They do have some suggestions on here as to where they might look good. All right. And there you go. That is our first card completed. All right. So very, very cute. Love it. And then the extra little bit inside. And we have other leaves and stuff in our stamp set if you wanted to do more stamping of leaves. So beautiful first card. Let's put that right there. All right, now our second card we're going to do with the dark green leaves, and we were going to put that onto a Night of Navy card base as well. So just like that. But now that I'm looking at it and seeing what all we're putting on here, I actually wonder if I wouldn't prefer it on a white card base. I think I actually prefer that. You guys can chime in. I won't glue it down just yet. So white card base or Night of Navy card base. I almost feel like we should be using a Secret Sea card base, not a Night of Navy if we're going to go with the dark, just because it makes the Night of Navy look very blue next to this piece. But let's build the front and then we'll decide what kind of base to put it on. All right, so to build our front, we're going to need our oval. We're going to do some stamping on that, and then it's all going to get layered onto our vellum oval. And let's put that out. Okay, and then we also will need our copper accented oval. This one has some gorgeous little leaf patterns around it. And what else do we need? Oh, we need some of the greenery and another flower. It looks like this time we're using a large flower. So we're going to grab one of these greeneries and a large flower. There we go. All right, so these are our pieces. Now let's do our stamping on this one. There we go. So we're doing our stamping on the oval. So I guess what that also means is if we really messed it up, we could be brave and stamp directly on our one with the accent, because this just gets glued down. It doesn't get popped up or anything. So that gives us a chance to kind of fix things. So we're going to start with the leaves that they want us to stamp, just because those are going to take up the biggest space. And let's see. All right, so there's 3 different leaves on here. We're going to take the tiny one with 5 bump outs. All right, so that's the little one we're using. I'm going to get a better block for that. There we go. And we're going to test it before we stamp it right on our page. And that one actually seems to have a bit of a film. I find it's the ones that are more like more solid, like a thin sentiment is fairly easy, but the more solid ones seem to have a little bit of like a film on them. All right, so we're going to start first with one here that's kind of off to the side. And then we're going to do one that kind of attaches to that and goes up the side of our oval. So there's our little stamping there. And then, you know what, I'm going to leave that on that block because I'll probably do some stamping like that on the inside of our card, regardless of which card base we use. So then I'm going to grab my thank you and the little things you do for me mean so much. So it's again 2 different stamps. Really means that you can switch it up. If you like the dear friend, you can say dear friend, the little things you do for me mean so much, and then maybe stamp the thank you on the inside or something like that. Now I think it doesn't show to do this. It actually shows to stamp them both separately. I think I can get away with putting these on the block together. And that way I can see ahead of time, because I'm going to go ahead and stamp these. I'm just going to give that a little clean or something on it, like some fuzz or something. All right. Oh yeah, so that's not straight at all. Okay, that's better. All right, so this way I can see if they're lined up the way I like them right from the beginning. So yeah, I can see again that thank you's still not as straight as I would like it to be. So I think I have to worry about the thank and not so much about the you. And I am lining that up. All right, let's try that again. Still looks a little off. Okay. Okay, maybe I will stamp those. Actually, I shouldn't do that though, because then it will be right. Okay, let's try one more time. No, that really looks off to me. Okay, I'm going to try moving my message and then moving that. All right. So, okay, that looks a lot better. I like that. Let's do one more test just to make sure. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And this is why we kind of play around, why we have scrap paper, so we can play around, make sure it's all exactly how we like it. And now with these 2 together, I come in here and stamp them onto my oval. There we go. So I'm going to keep those together on that block because I'll probably go in and stamp the rest of this again for my other cards before I take it off the block. It's nice if that's already done. All right, now they would like us to use tear and tape to attach this to this. I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue just because I can. Okay, so there we go. And we attach that. It gets centered right inside that beautiful copper border. And then I'm going to flip it over to it. Put it down. Now, for this next one, though, I am going to use the tear and tape that I just had. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Gotta love that when you use something and then it just disappears right in front of your eyes. Uh-oh, what is happening? I seem to have an alarm going off. Dismiss. There we go. All right. Okay. So 3 pieces of tear and tape on there. I'm going to peel all those backings off. This one's going to be just a little bit harder to line up. We're going to put this centered on our vellum. Uh-oh. Oh no. I'm not sure how that happened, but I ended up flipping it over to smush it down and smushed it down completely crooked. Yikes. Okay, let's put this down, and then I'm going to either restamp or reglue that sentiment piece. Okay. So you want to make sure all your leaves get inside. There we go. All right. Now let's reglue this. That's craziness. I'm not sure how I let it slide that much. All right. So let's reglue that. Glue a bit more out to the sides. And let's not flip it this time. Okay. All right. Not the best glue job I've ever done. Okay. There. Okay, so we have a little wrinkle in it. That's not good. We could always grab the other oval and redo it, but I'm not going to. I'll just put sorry, I have another alarm going off for some reason. Oh my goodness, because it thinks I'm still at school. All my school alarms are going off. Okay, so I'll just put a little embellishment there and we'll hide that up and it'll be no big deal. Now we're going to put more tear and tape on here because now we're going to attach it to our card front. And so we want to keep that tear and tape hidden behind our solid pieces. And we'll peel that off. And now this gets centered right on here. So center top to bottom, side to side. And then we will go ahead and attach this greenery with a dimensional. And so that's going to get popped up on there. And then our flower can go on with just a piece of tear and tape to hold it in place. So the only key to this is you want it coming off of our oval, but staying on our card front. And then our flower will go down so that we can still see the blue that we put there. So we're going to put 2 dimensionals on here. There we go. Just like that. And so we're going to come in like that. And then just a little piece of tear and tape on the back of this flower to hold it in place. Okay. And then down low enough that we're not covering up that blue. Beautiful. So this is what it's looking like on a white card base. There. And we're going to add our little sequins still. So we're going to grab another large one, another small one, and another small one. There we go. So our sequins in there. And so we've got it there on a white background or there on the blue background. I'm actually really feeling like I would like this on a darker background, but not the Night of Navy. I'm going to go grab a piece of Secret Sea because I really feel like that's the color that's going to match this. So I'm going to score my Secret Sea at 4 1/4. 1/4 and then cut it at 5.5. There we go. And then we'll try that on there. Oh yeah, that's what we needed. We needed secrecy. All right, so we'll put away our Night of Navy and our white bases because we don't need those. I'm going to glue this straight down to our secrecy card base. And then I'm going to stamp some leaves on our white insert before we put it in. So there we go. All right, so there is our gorgeous card front. Then I'm going to grab a white insert and my Night of Navy ink again with that little leaf that we had before. And kind of just like we did on the edge of our oval, I'm going to come in and just stamp some little greeneries, well, blueries, I don't know, at the bottom. Now you could actually even go ahead and stamp, actually I might. I'm going to kind of mimic the envelope in that I'm going to actually stamp a whole bunch across the bottom here. There we go. And kind of pair them up, and sometimes I'll go off the edge, but today I feel like I'm just going to stick to being on the page. All right, and just like that. And so we've just done some greenery across the bottom. And if you don't like the look of it not going off the bottom, you can always go ahead and trim it to make it a little bit smaller. I actually don't like how I have a space on this side and not on this side. So I think I'm going to trim my whole inside. Just take it down 1/4, maybe even only 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So instead of being 5 1/4, it'll be 5 1/8. And then instead of being 4, it'll be 3 7/8. And so just even a little bit tinier. There we go. And then we're going to take this piece and glue it to the inside of our card base. So these are just little things. You could even do that kind of stamping on the inside of your card if you didn't alter your card bases, because the insides are white, and it's nice to just do a little bit of extra stamping on the inside. So there we go. So it's just a kind of sweet little look on the inside. And that's our front. All right, so that is our second card from this month's Paper Pumpkin kit. I just stepped up a tiny bit. All right, now our third card, this is where we're going to go a little crazy. I am going to use a white card base for this one. So the pieces that we are supposed to be using are this piece. And so I didn't want it to be shorter than the card front. I wanted it to run top to bottom. But what I really want to see is how much space we've got here when we put this down. So if I center this on my card front, where's my ruler? Grab my ruler. And so I want each of these pieces to be about 1 1/4 inches. I could probably get away with 1 inch, but I'd have to be very precise and it would be very tight. So I don't like having to be too precise. So let's do 1 1/4 inch strips so that we have some wiggle room. So I'm going to take this card base. I haven't cut it in any way yet, and I'm going to cut 1 1/4 inch strips out of it. So I'm actually going to be left with quite a bit of my card base to be able to play with for other cards. So I'm just going to cut it 1 1/4 and then again at 1 1/4. So I have full 5 1/2 inch tall pieces. So I'm just going to do that with my guillotine cutter. All right, so there we go. And 1 1/4. So you can see I'm left with quite a bit. There's our score line and our card. I'm left with quite a bit of cardstock left with this beautiful pattern. So that's going to make for a fun alternative card. So I'm going to take these two pieces. Now, one of these pieces has a slightly rounded corner because it was the edge of our card bases. I'm going to turn that so that those rounded corners are into my card, not out of my card, because my card doesn't have rounded corners. And I'm going to glue. Oh, that's going to make it go the wrong direction. Okay, so that's fine. I'll just switch it to this side. There we go. So take that rounded corner piece and put it on this side. And then take this piece and put it on this side. So we're going to glue these down right at the fold and right at the edge. And then they go top to bottom as well. And then don't worry about what's visible because when this goes down, it's going to hide all of that. Okay, so it'll look like we used a whole sheet. So use your favorite adhesive and let's get those attached to our card front. Now, we want blue at the top, according to this card. Okay, blue at the top. So I must have cut the back side of the card. Okay. There we go. All right, and then this one's the one with the rounded corners. So when I put blue at the top, it puts the rounded corner to the inside. And just like that. There we go. All right, so now we have our new card base created and we can get to work. So for this card, we are stamping on a square. And, oh, it's not a square. Aha. Okay, which way do we go? Let's see. I'm going to have to find. So we're using this piece of greenery that has the flat base, and then we're using the smallest flower. Oh, that's super cute. Okay, so we want to stamp on this in the way that it's going to be, yeah, there we go, in the way that it's going to be the same width as this flower piece. Okay, so it's just technically a little bit tall, like it's a little bit taller height-wise and a little bit thinner to the side to side. Now they're suggesting that we stamp Miss You So Much. Don't do a ton of Miss You cards though, so I'm going to just see. Well, the fonts don't look as nice together though. I was going to see if I could stamp Thank You So Much, but the fonts just don't interest me quite as much. So I guess we'll do Miss You So Much and I'll start sending that kind of a card. There's a few people I can think of to send that to. I'm very lucky that most of my friends who live far away, I still see fairly often. And the rest of them don't live far away. So kind of lucky. All right, let's grab a block for these. Now for these two, I think I will stamp them separately. And I'm going to stamp Miss You first, making sure to leave space below it for the So Much. Miss You. And then, oops, I forgot to stamp that to get rid of the film. Darn it. So it's a little bit misty. And then So Much goes underneath. There we go. Oh, yeah. All right, not too bad. All right, Miss You So Much. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece. And, before we do that, they want us to stamp. So I am actually going to put this down just to see. Oh, they want us to be brave and stamp on this. Oh, hi, Lucy. The cat has come to say hello. So I'm going to put this on here just to see, generally speaking, where that should go. So this piece and that piece are going to get attached to each other. And then they want us stamping some leaves that will show behind this, so that are going to kind of peek out the top and the bottom. So I'm actually going to, I think, move that down a bit like that, just to get a sense of where. I think I'm going to restamp that Miss You on the other side. It's a little bit lower than I'd like it to be, and that's exactly where that piece is going to have to be. All right, so now we're going to grab the remaining 2 leaves, and we'll put those on blocks. Okay, so just like that. And let's see, grab that one, and I'm kind of running out of blocks here. All right, and we've got that one. All right, these ones I'm going to try to remember. Let's pull out our scrap paper. I'll try and remember to stamp them off first. Okay, like there we go. More vibrant look. Beautiful. Okay, there we go. All right. Fantastic. So when I look at this and I see where all that's going to lay out, I would like that to be stamped right about there. All right. And then based on that, we're going to bring this back in, and that's going to go right about there. And then if that's like that and that's like that, my other one is going to stamp in right there. Okay. Right about like that. So that's kind of what I've got stamped onto my copper piece. Now I am actually going to go ahead and attach this to this piece. I think that's going to help me with lining up the Miss You So Much. So I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape and run it along the back there. And actually attach this. There we go. And now I'm going to restamp my Miss You So Much. That's also going to give me a chance to take that film off of it that was making it a little bit misty. I didn't like how that looked. Okay, so now we can kind of get this centered. And we'll go like that. Miss You, and so much. That's way better. All right. So now this whole piece is going to go on here with dimensionals. So we're going to pop this over. I just got the trims left on my dimensionals. So I use every little piece. So we're just going to cut up those edges and use those bits. There we go. All right. So that is going to go on here. Now we're going to line it up so that all of those bits that we stamped are going to show through in some way. And this is going to be centered left to right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. We have our little flower, and we're going to put a dimensional on the back of that as well. So I'm just going to take a little piece here, put that on there. And our little flower is going to go right here. There we go. All right, now we're going to put some sequins on here. Some right there and there. So there's our beautiful sequins. And now this gets attached to our vellum and then attached to our card front. So we have this beautiful piece of vellum. This gets attached, centered on here. Oops, I'm just going to trim up that edge. There we go. So this is a bit tricky to center. It doesn't quite, like the leaves aren't fully on top of the vellum. So I'm actually going to center it first. Oh, come on. Glad I don't have adhesive on the back of this because it would be stuck and completely crooked. Not sure why I'm having so much trouble with this. There we go. And there we go. All right. So now that I have that centered the way I like it, I'm going to actually hold it in place and put my tear and tape on the back of it, like one piece at a time. So I've got that in place. I'm going to kind of peel that back, put that in there. Oops. And then lay that down and then do the same thing to the other end. I think that's just going to be way easier than me trying to line this all up with adhesive on the back. So I put my tear and tape onto my vellum and then laid this back down on top of it. So now that's centered. Now I can flip it over and put my tear and tape on the back of this to adhere it to my card front. Okay. Now putting this onto the card front is way easier. We don't have to be nearly as precise, and we're just trying to really line it up top to bottom. The side-to-side piece is a little less finicky. That's why we cut those pieces a little bit bigger. We have a bit more leeway for centering it. Okay, so kind of just looking at the bottom to make sure that my bottom is centered and straight, and then we'll just push it down and double check that the top gets there. There we go. All right, and that is our third card from this paper pumpkin kit, but now of course we put it onto a white card base, and then on the inside we can do some stamping if we'd like to decorate that, or just leave it as is. So those are the 3 cards from this month's Watercolor in Bloom paper pumpkin kit, December 2025. Absolutely gorgeous cards. And now if you've got time, hang out with me a little bit longer, and I'm going to make a quick alternative card using some of the leftover pieces. I'll show you what we have left over from this kit. So if you make the modifications that I made, you won't have any leftover pop-out pieces, but we'll have some leftover backgrounds and some leftover shapes. So we have some stuff, and then we can grab some cardstock. I used Night of Navy, Secrecy, and Thick Basic White for my original cards. So we'll have those, the other half of each of those left over as well to craft with. So let's do some stamping. The first one that I want to start with actually is going to be using up some more of this piece. I think this is my favorite of the backgrounds. I'm going to take this little strip and I'm going to cut it on our score line. So I'm not sure how much that's actually leaving me with. That's 1 3/4. So we're going to have a 1 3/4 inch strip. So that's what I'm going to cut right now. And I'm going to grab a basic white card base to go with it. 1 3/4. There we go. Oops. Okay, I'm going to make mine just slightly smaller than 1 3/4 because I don't want to see the actual score line, and I could. So I didn't love that. All right, so we've got this beautiful 1 3/4 inch strip. We're going to grab a basic white card base, and we're going to do this. We're going to grab this piece. I'm not actually like putting it in place right now, but what I'm going to do is take all those beautiful leaves. We have the 3 different leaves, and I am going to start stamping along an imaginary line. You know what, actually, instead of an imaginary line, let's actually come in here and draw a line just behind. So if that's where it is, I'm just going to pull that cardstock out. Oops. Okay, there we go. I'm going to grab a pencil and actually just draw a really light pencil line on my page. That's going to give me a guide to stamp by. And then when I go glue this on, that will get glued on top of that line, so we won't even see the line. So now I've got a little line here from which to stamp from. That will make things much easier. And so I'm going to come in and I'm going to start with my biggest leaf. And I'm going to do 3 of those. We can come back and do a few more of them in a bit. Now I'm going to take this smaller leaf. This was the, oh no, okay. Don't recommend going back over top of stamps when you miss stamp, but sometimes it works. There we go. And just like that. And then maybe one more like that. And no. Nope, we're going to leave that for now. All right, and now our third leaf. I'm going to come in close like that. Go. And we'll do one in there. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm not great with this one. There we go. And now I'm going to get that big leaf again, but we're going to just stamp like less of it. So we're going to come in and actually it'll fit. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm failing today at this stamping thing. There we go. All right. Actually, that looks okay. Okay. And then I think we need one more leaf up here. Just feeling a little empty. All right. I'm going to come in just a little dab there, a little dab there, and a little dab there. Okay, and anywhere else. I just like this one for little bits. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so we've done this whole kind of blue leaf thing down the side with our Night of Navy. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to cover up all those stray ends. So we've just got this piece of designer series paper with all this fun greenery kind of shooting out of the side of it. So we're going to glue that down. You can use your liquid glue or your tear and tape from your kit, whatever you prefer. Here we go. So we're going to glue that down. And just like that. All right. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, now we are going to we've got some of these shapes left over. Here we go. So we've got some different shapes that we can be using. And I think, I think I'm smudging ink across my card. That's no good. I think we might actually go ahead and do this sideways and cover up some of my smudges that I just made. So we're going to stamp a sentiment on here, but this is not the same orientation we used on our original card. All right, so yeah, I think we're going to go in like that. It's actually going to go up a little bit higher once we have our sentiment on here. So let's figure out which sentiment is going to fit nicely on there. I think maybe we can do You Make Me Feel So Loved is actually going to fit on there. Do I still have that on the block? No, it's back on our snip set. All right. So I think You Make Me Feel So Loved is going to go well on there. And then we'll put it with the Dear Friend. Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel So Loved. So there we go. So let's grab a block for those. Let's take You Make Me Feel So Loved first. Okay, so actually let's decide on here. I think I want them kind of centered because I'm going to do a little bit of fanciness around the outside edges. So Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel So Loved. I think that goes together well, just like that. Okay, and we'll do a test stamp first before we go ahead and actually stamp this. Make sure that that's nice and straight. That looks great. All right, so we're going to take Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel So Loved. Stamp that right in the center of this beautiful oval that we've got. There we go. Now, we don't have the beautiful pieces extra to put around this. Those have been used up on our cards. So instead, we're going to decorate this. This is where you could have some fun. You could grab another color ink and come in here and do some stamping. I think I'm actually going to keep mine pretty simple and continue to use just the blue ink on this. And I'm going to do just... There's our cute little one. Oh, he's still on my papers as well. We're going to do just this itty bitty little spark one. And then we're going to grab some embellishments, I think. So where'd my blue ink go? Wow. Okay, I was just using it. And, oh, there it is. Yikes. All right. So I'm just going to come in here and, actually, okay, this is a tough decision. I'm actually not sure where I want to put that. I'm actually thinking maybe I won't, and I'm just going to put some of it on here. I'll just come in here with that. Do a few on here. Let's see how that works out. Okay, a few like that, and then, okay, maybe we'll do one right there, and one right there. We're just going to do the two sides of Dear Friend. Okay, Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel So Loved. And now I feel like I want something to make this really kind of pop. So maybe we're going to grab one of the other pieces. Will that make it too busy? That'll make it too busy. All right, we're going to take a piece of ribbon or something and put it behind this. I just want something to make it separated from the card base. So we're going to flip this over and put some dimensionals on it. And I think actually we'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We won't have any leftover sequins. So if we are going to do some embellishments, it's going to have to be something different. That's fine. So I'm going to pop in here with just 2 dimensionals, one on each side of this. But before we put this down, I'm going to grab just a ribbon or a trim of some kind to put behind it. Now looking at what I have. That's out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Ooh, that's not out of stock. Okay. we have got the black, white, and gold trim here. This is from the Modern Christmas Suite. And we're going to see, I think we're going to go with the, ooh, I don't know, black or white. What are we going to do? Black behind that's a bit dark. I think we're going to go with the white and gold behind it, which is great because I have more of that than the black one. I got really heavy into black and gold this Christmas. All right, so we're going to cut that. So I want a really nice big kind of floppy bow. So I just folded that a couple times, put a knot in the middle, and now that gives me basically like I just tied a really floppy bow that's going to be able to go behind this. And I can try to just kind of make that go the direction I want it to go a bit more. I'm going to actually untie this and retie that. I'm going to straighten out my string a bit before I start. I started with all curved, but so 2 big bunny ears, cross them over, loop them through, tie a nice big knot, and that might be too big. Let's see. Okay. All right, just like that. So I'm actually going to use a piece of tear and tape to hold that knot in place so that it doesn't slide away from me. So I'm just going to put it over the center, like taping it down. Okay. Then I'm going to take my dimensional backings off and put my piece in place. There we go. And then we'll use our scissors to trim up the ends. Now, because I used white and gold, we're not going to go ahead with any copper embellishments. We didn't have any of those left over anyways. What I think I'm actually going to grab is the hues of blue flowers. And we're just going to keep running with the gorgeous blues in here. And so let's see. We're going to do maybe some darker ones. Oh, yay. And this is where you could use take your pick tool again. And I'm going to fill some of this white space on this beautiful label with these gorgeous flowers. And yeah, just like that. All right, so there we have it, our first alternative. So using just some leftover pieces and some extra embellishments, using the same ink that we had before, we've just been able to fill that in. If you wanted to, you could grab some gold embellishments as well, or instead, we have loose gold sequins that you could sprinkle on here instead of these beautiful hues of blues flowers, or in addition to, if you're, the type of person who loves to really bling things up. I'm not sure I love that one attached to that. I think I'm going to do that separate. There we go. Be up there. Embellishments always get tricky. Yeah, we're going to go up here. So tricky. Okay. I don't know. I never know. All right, maybe we will go like that. Maybe we need a bigger one and just cover that up. Maybe I shouldn't have stamped that there. Yeah, actually, I think don't do that stamping if you're watching this on the replay. There we go. All right, so that's how we're going to do our card. So that's our first alternative card. Now I'm going to do a second alternative card with this beautiful piece, and then I might come up with a few more with that one. But that'll be for a later time because I am running out of time this morning, as I'm sure you are. We're going to take this piece and do just a nice quick card with this one. So I'm going to grab a piece of Secret Sea to go with this, and I'm going to default to my favorite card design. If you have watched me craft before, you've probably seen this particular fold. I am scoring my paper at 5 1/2, cutting it at 4 1/4, and then trimming the front at 2 3/4. So I've taken a piece here, so a hamburger fold cardstock with our crease there, and I've cut the front in half. So this piece is now 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to go cut this to 4 by oh my goodness, sorry, to 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. So 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. So what that does is it creates for me a little piece here. Oops, that was too small on this, or not small enough on the sides. Sorry, I needed to trim that down to 4 inches. Not 4 1/8. 4 by, there we go. That's right. Okay, there we go. So 4 by 2 5/8 is our piece on there. And so I'm going to glue that gorgeous piece. And then, of course, I have more here. I'm going to be able to do this again with another piece. So we're going to take this and glue it right onto there. So I'll be able to make a few cards doing this way. It gets me lots of pieces. And then the piece that I trimmed off of the front goes across this way. I'm going to take a piece of basic white for the inside of our card. That's going to get glued in right there. Okay. And so our card is going to go like this, and then we're going to design some stuff for the front of our card here. So let's glue this in. Just like that. There we go. Okay, then we've got this piece that's going to go across there, and we're going to need a piece of something to go on there. So I'm wondering, actually, no, I don't like those two together. All right, so we will just do a piece of basic white to go on here. We could also take this other piece and put it on there, but I think it makes it too busy. This is a really busy piece of paper, and I don't want it to be too overwhelming. So we're going to cut a piece of basic white to go in here. So that, again, this is going to be 4 by 2 5/8. So just grab a piece of basic white, cut it down to 4 by 2 5/8. 4 by 2 5/8. There we go. And then this piece goes right on there, and that's where we can put our sentiment and do some other stamping and stuff. So we're going to do that stamping before we glue it all together. So we're going to grab that. I am going to grab my sentiments, and I think I'm going to go again with this thank you for the little things you do. And we're going to do a bunch of greenery stamping on here. Thank you. The little things you do for me mean so much. And I think we're going to do that on, we're not going to center it. I'm going to do it off kind of to the side. There we go. And then just like we did before, we're going to come in and put our greenery kind of swooping in. All right. So, like that. Oh, hi, Lucy. She's very loud. All right, and let's see. I'd like to get 3 in here. Maybe we'll do a little one coming in from this side. There we go. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to grab this fun one and come in like that. Like that. Like that. Oh. There you go. And like that. And then finally, we have one more. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. And our third type of leaf here. Kind of like that. And that. Now we've got that tiny little cute one. There it is. We'll come in and do a few of those. Right in there. There we go. And actually, I think we're going to come in and do a little bit more, just like that. There. All right. A little bit more. So we're just really coming in, and I'm doing just 2 sides of my paper. I'm not going all the way around. Just make it a little bit different. And then we're going to pop that right on there. So that's going to get centered onto that card front, and we will glue that down. There we go. Just like that. And then again, we can have some fun with this, grab some sparkly gold stuff, or we can stick with our hues of blue, which is what I'm going to do for this card. So I'm going to take this piece, flip it over, grab some dimensionals. I am going to put a piece of dimensional there, a piece there, and then a piece there and there. So I've basically just put 4 dimensionals on here, and we're going to use these to attach this to the front flap only. Oh, come on. It doesn't want to release for me. There we go. All right, flip that over. Center that on there. There we go. And then I'm going to grab my hues of blues flowers. I think for this one, I am going to go with maybe the lighter ones. And we're going to pop those in there. And over there. Just like that. And voila, we have our second alternative card. And so this one is actually such a great one. You could do this with any of the pieces, and then you got so many of these little strips out of it. So you could do this with the lovely blue stripes on the side as well behind there. I think that look gorgeous. And so this card shape and base is just a great one. And then you could do some more greenery on the inside, or bluery, whatever you want to call it, on the inside of this one, and have a lot of fun with that. So that is my second alternative. Let's bring these both back in. So there are my alternatives for this month's paper pumpkin. Oh, hi, Paula. Thanks for watching. Warmer than normal in Dallas. Oh, I wish we might get snow here today, which is a little bit unusual for British Columbia. Yeah, so that is our December 2025 Watercolor in Bloom kit. I showed you all 3 cards as well as these 2 alternatives. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you after the holidays. I think it's the 29th is next Monday, and I will be live next Monday on the 29th. Awesome. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.